Welcome to tonight's Mialisia Opportunity Call. It is my pleasure to welcome you. Let me just really quick introduce myself, and then we'll kind of go through our agenda over the next 30 minutes. So my name is Dave Nabrodsky. My wife, Trish, and I are one of the executive national designers with Mialisia, and we have been enjoying every moment of it. We launched in the U.S. several months ago and are in our pre-launch in Canada, and it has been so much fun to see the excitement among each and every one of our designers and those who are looking into this opportunity. You know, I will tell you, I've was reading a research, a study recently that had this person that interviewed 100 different millionaires and went through this series of questions. And one of the questions that they asked was, you know, what would you say is that one thing in your life that got you to where you are today, that helped you to get that, you know, reach that success? And the majority of them answered it was their ability to recognize an opportunity and to do something about it and to seize that. And so with that being said, I want to share my thoughts as we are witnessing around this country and around the world as we have launched Mialisia, seeing people who are understanding this moment. We wait our whole lives for, you know, an opportunity of a lifetime to come knocking on our door, and I'm telling you, this is that opportunity, and we're so pleased tonight to be able to introduce our story to you, and we have our incredible and wonderful founders, Sean and Annelise Brown, on the call tonight. Annelise is our CEO, and Sean Brown is our president. And it is my privilege and pleasure that I get to work with these wonderful individuals each and every day. They are incredible people. You know, there's a lot of different CEOs out there, and Annelise is one in a million. I will tell you, her vision is incredible, as you're going to hear from her and hear her story. Her determination is incredible. I will tell you, I've known the Browns for many, many years, and Annelise is one of the most hard-working individuals I have ever met. She is, you know, the first one up, the last one to bed. She is so excited about this incredible idea, if you will, that came into her mind, and the opportunity that she has to share it with all of you tonight. So with that being said, let me go ahead and turn the time over to our wonderful founder and CEO, Annelise, to tell her story.
Thank you, Dave. We love Dave. We're so grateful for him and for everything that he's doing for us and helping us build this company. It has been such an exciting journey so far, and I know we're just at the very beginning. But I'm just grateful for you guys that you're all taking your time to get on and just kind of listen to what we're doing. I will tell you kind of how it all started. It's been pretty crazy, and it seems like it's all happened so fast, but it really actually started just a few years ago. We were living in Iowa in a small town, and a friend of mine actually invited me to do a craft show. Now, I personally had never done a craft show before. My mom did them a lot when I was growing up, and so I thought it would be a fun thing to do. So I agreed to do it, and I had no idea what I was going to sell, but I figured I would figure something out because I'm a pretty crafty person. So I was actually getting ready to go out and visit my mom, and at the time she was going through a jewelry making phase. Now, my mom loves jewelry. She's kind of obsessed with jewelry. She has jewelry for every outfit in her closet, and she just loves it. And so I went out, and I thought, I'm going to learn how to make a little jewelry, and I thought maybe I'll sell some of hers that she's made. And so I did that. I went out, and I learned how to make just the basics in jewelry, and I personally have never been a huge jewelry person. I always loved the idea of jewelry, and I bought a lot of jewelry, but I just found that I didn't wear it very often. And, you know, when I put it on, it was either too long or too short, or it was uncomfortable, and I found that I just didn't wear it very often. And so I was always kind of on the hunt for just this all-purpose piece of jewelry, one that I could wear with everything and, that would look good. I just, I wanted to wear jewelry because I felt better when I did. For some reason, it just makes you feel more finished and better. And so, of course, I never found anything like that as I was looking. And so as I was playing with this jewelry and making different pieces, one night I was laying in bed, and it was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. My mind was just going. And, this idea just came into my head, and I really feel like it was an inspired idea. I don't think this idea came from me. And it was such a simple idea, really, just to add another hook to the necklace, right? Hopefully most of you have had an opportunity to see the concept video or, see the actual jewelry demonstrated. But really it was just to add another hook to this necklace or piece of jewelry. And I just laid there and I thought, oh my gosh, my mind just started going, all these things that I could do, if I did that. And I thought, surely someone has done this. And so I got up out of bed and I went downstairs and I got online and I just started searching, and I could not find anything like it online, even though it was just such a simple concept. And so there I sat in the middle of the night making these, I called them extensions at the time, just these necklaces with hooks on both ends. And I was so excited, I could not even contain myself. And my husband got up the next morning and I was like, look at this, look what I made. And he's like, good job, the necklace. I was like, no, it's so much more than a necklace. And I was just so excited. So I spent the next couple of weeks making tons of these. And I went to the little town craft show. It was just a one-day show over at the high school in the gym, and just like a 6-hour show. And I could not believe the response. When the doors opened, we were mobbed, and I couldn't even believe it. I could not even demonstrate fast enough and show the women how it worked, and they just loved it. They loved the idea that they could customize this jewelry and wear it however they wanted, just fit whatever they were wearing. And I sold almost everything I had taken. And I went home with $2,000 in my pocket from this little 6-hour craft show. And then, of course, my husband was super excited and got online and started looking for more craft shows for me to do. And this was in the beginning of November. And so sure enough, he found a bunch. And we signed up for craft shows every weekend, and I just ended up doing it right through the holidays. And it was so exciting because every show we went to, we got the same response. Women just loved this concept. And so by the end of the holidays, we knew that this was something that we had to pursue. And so we started a website so we could ship and people could reorder. And we just started signing up for craft shows all over the country. And, it got to the point where I couldn't even keep up with making the jewelry. I had blisters on my hands. I wasn't sleeping. I was just trying so hard to keep up. And so we started hiring people to help us. And we just did this for a long time. I was all over the place. There were beads everywhere. We had people helping. At one point we had probably 25 people helping us make jewelry. They would come over and I'd give them a little kit with beads and a sample, and they would make 100 and bring them back. And it was a pretty crazy time. I always tell people, kind of like a roller coaster, because, even though we were having great success and women love this concept, I have so much respect for people who have started a business, because every penny you make, you dump right back into the business. And you're lucky if that's enough, because usually it's not, and it wasn't for us. So every penny my husband made, we dumped into the business, and we maxed out every credit card and borrowed money from family. And it was like the most exciting time in my life, and probably the hardest time in my life. It was rough. There were times when we had nothing, when my husband had to gather up the kids' piggy banks, and, that's what we used to buy gas. And there were a lot of times when I wanted to quit, and there were a lot of times when my husband wanted to quit. But he was so great and so supportive, and we just pushed each other along because we knew that this was an inspired idea and that we needed to follow through with it. And we wanted it to be huge, and I knew that it could be. I just wasn't sure how. So we started getting requests to be in stores, and that was kind of exciting. We thought that could be huge. If we were in every store across the country, that would be awesome, and that would be huge. And so we started kind of experimenting with that. We did some, retail shows, and got into probably 75 little mom and pop stores across the country. And And that was exciting, but it wasn't great because they weren't reordering very often. And I was so frustrated because I knew that people loved this concept. I knew that it sold so well. And we quickly realized that, a necklace just hanging on a shelf is just a necklace. If you can't demonstrate how it works and show the women how it works, then it's just a necklace. And there's enough jewelry out there that we just couldn't compete with that. And so we kind of came to a crossroads. And we just, we had met a retail consultant, and he was convinced he could help us. And we could, build these amazing displays with video that taught the concept. And, of course, it was going to cost a lot of money for that to happen, and like $50,000 just to start the process. And, we didn't have that kind of money, but we thought, if we want to take it huge, maybe this is what we need to do. And so we flew this consultant out, and we spent a couple of days with him. This was like the beginning of August. It was right before the Iowa State Fair, which was like our motherlode show of the year. Huge, like 10 days, 9 to 9. It was crazy. And so we were trying to get ready for that, and I met with this guy, and it was just, I don't know. We wanted to take a risk, but we weren't sure what to do. And I remember the day before the fair started, so this guy came out and met with us, and then he came home. One of my good friends called me, and she said, this is crazy. I remember I was standing at Walmart buying shirts for this fair for us to wear, and she just said, I cannot stop thinking about this. But she's like, I just have this feeling that I need to do some home parties for you and sell some of your jewelry. And I was like, okay. I'm like, let me get through the state fair, and then I'll send you some stuff. I'm like, okay. She's like, I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And so I thought, well, I'm not opposed to, sure, you can try it if you want, And so we hung up and we did the state fair, and of course, like I think it was like the day before the last day of the state fair, one of our friends got married, and it was in Oregon, and we didn't have the money to go, but we felt really strongly that we needed to be there to support him, and I'm so glad that we did. So we flew out there, borrowed my mother-in-law's credit card to do it, and while we were there, we were talking with our friend's brother, and he was asking about our business. And so we were telling him kind of what we were doing, about the concept, and he said, have you ever thought about doing home parties? I was like, actually, yeah. My friend had just talked to me about it, and then on top of that, like every craft show we went to, we had women that would request and ask if we did home parties, and I just didn't have a lot of experience with that, and so I always just kind of pushed it aside, and we tested it out. I remember one time we sent a lady a box full of jewelry, and she was able to sell like $2,000 of jewelry at her little home party with just jewelry, no training or catalogs or anything. I mean, she just had jewelry, and so I knew that could be a successful route, but I just didn't know how to go about doing that, and so I hadn't really ever entertained that. And so he was like, oh my gosh. He said, you know what, that's what me and my partners do. He's like, they build companies, and he said, I think this concept is incredible, and you guys need to come out right away and meet with your partners. And so we did. Like a week and a half later, they flew us out to Utah where they were based, and we met with them, and within just a couple of hours, they were so excited, and we were ready to make a deal. I mean, it was crazy, and it felt so good and so right. And it was crazy because at the time my husband was an executive for Bank of America. He was getting promoted the next month. We were moving to Kansas City, which was a larger market for him to take over, and it was like a no-brainer. Like it wasn't even hard for us to make the decision. He called his boss and said, hey, you know what, don't promote me. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go run a jewelry company. And he did. He quit his job, and we moved our family out to Utah, and we started going on this just about a year ago is when we came out. And it has been the most unbelievable experience. We thought maybe we would launch in July with 200 or 300 people, and that would be so amazing. And literally within like 2 or 3 weeks, we had already hit 200 or 300 people, and we ended up launching with over 1,000 people. And that's just unheard of in this industry. Like that doesn't happen. And my head was like spinning. I couldn't believe it. It was so exciting and so crazy, and it has just been so great. And the quality of people that has come into our company. It's just been so humbling. There are so many incredible people. And, like I said, I know I said that this really was an inspired idea. And, I feel like in the last year, everything is really becoming, more clear for me. I thought maybe we've been blessed with this, so we'll have money and we can help people. And I've really come to realize that this is not about money, and it's not about jewelry, actually, even though we have a really great concept, but it's just about people. You would not believe the stories that we have heard, just how this has blessed people's lives already. And, we have our mantra is enhancing your inner beauty, and our tagline is infinite possibilities and infinite worth. Every package of jewelry comes with a little card that says you are of infinite worth. And, I have just found that as women, and really everyone, I think everyone struggles with that self-worth. And I truly believe that every person has something of value to offer. And really, I am just determined to change this direct sales industry. It has kind of there are some negative, things about that, that I've seen in other companies with all the drama and the cattiness. And, we're like one big family here, and everybody supports everyone. It doesn't matter what team you're on. And it's all about, building relationships and serving people. We're not selling. I always tell people, don't sell, just serve, just build relationships and look for ways that you can help others, and you'll be successful, because of that, and your business will flourish because of that. And so, if that is important to you, and, and I feel like everybody needs a sense of belonging, and I want to have a company that everybody is drawn to, and that everyone feels loved and everyone feels valued. And so that is my goal with this, So I hope that you guys will consider and think about that. We're really going to change the jewelry industry, and we're going to change the way that women wear jewelry. But more important than that, we're going to, change the way that women feel about themselves. And so we just want to take as many people on this journey as we can with us. So that is my story. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to turn the time back over to Dave. Thanks so much, Dave.
Yes, sign me up. I'm so excited. I love it. Can you not just sense how different this concept is and how different our CEO is? Thank you so much, Annelise. I love to hear from you. I love how sincere you are. I love how genuine you are. I love your vision that as amazing as this concept is, and how different, how there's just no competition out there, right, for this type of jewelry and what it can offer. But to have that vision that this company and this opportunity is so much more than just that is really, really inspiring. We definitely are different. We're breaking records, and it is so exciting to be part of something bigger than yourself. Here I am, by the way, here as a guy in a woman's industry, and you might ask yourself, as I ask myself many times, what in the world am I doing? Why am I embarking on this journey with Sean and Annelise and with thousands of other women and a few guys, a few good men? And it simply was this. I remember a time where Annelise was doing a vendor show and a trade show out in Seattle, Washington, and she needed a little bit of help. And so my wife and I surprised her, and we flew out to Seattle, Washington, to this vendor show. And I had heard of their wonderful success, and to sell $1 million of jewelry out of your basement as a stay-at-home mom, right, with not this background, all this in business or whatnot, but just this incredible woman with a vision and a dream and a great inspired product and idea. But I really wanted to see for myself what all this excitement was about. Because I'm a guy, I don't get excited, to be honest, about jewelry, never have, and I don't wear jewelry. But we flew out there, and I will tell you, what I saw was absolutely incredible. Incredible. I saw women, and at this show there was, 7 or 8 other companies, even jewelry companies, along with 100 different vendors. And I saw this product stand out like nothing else there could. And I saw women so refreshed to see a new concept and so excited to see that it wasn't just jewelry, that they could use their own style and their own creativity to come up with the things that they liked and they wanted. And that's where, you talked, Annelise, a little bit about, you're not selling anything, and truly that's the way. My wife, who was visiting Annelise and helping her at the booth, who will admit she's not really a saleswoman, and she doesn't really like sales. She, after that first day, as they sold thousands of dollars of this product, right, all day long talking to women, she says, I absolutely love this. I never felt like I was selling anything. I really felt like I was a teacher. I felt like I was a stylist, right, a fashion designer, that I was helping women to, again, come up with their own, use their own creativity and use their own inner style and things, and she just absolutely loved it. So, I'm so excited, and that was kind of the tip of the iceberg for me. That I said, look, we have got something here, and I know I've got to seize it. Right? I want to be one of those millionaires, one of those successful people that could recognize an opportunity and seize it and not let it slip through my fingers. So that being said, let's go ahead and turn the time now over to our incredible president, Sean Brown, who, Sean and Annelise are such an incredible team, very dynamic people, very different in their own ways, but together they really make a powerhouse, and you're going to see that and sense that here in just a minute. Sean's got incredible background. I've known Sean, again, for really my whole life, and everything he has done and everything he has touched, he has had incredible success, and not just average success, but he has risen to the top, literally, in everything he's done. And there's many different attributes and qualities that describe Sean that allowed him to have that success. But I'm not going to go into all of those tonight. I am just grateful that we have him as our president, and we have his leadership and his passion and his vision and his care and his integrity to lead our company to do something really, really historic and change the way women wear jewelry. So that being said, let's go ahead and turn some time over to Sean, who's going to talk a little bit more about kind of what makes us different and unique and how we make a little bit of money among all this. And we'll turn the time over to him and then maybe do some questions and answers. So take it away, Sean.
Thanks, Dave. And, we're excited to be here with you tonight. There's so much going on at the company, and so it's really busy. Literally been on the phone all day long today. So it's been just a great time. We're recruiting. We're working hard. We're building teams. We're doing a lot of great stuff. So we're excited, and it's fun, and it's invigorating. And we hope that if you're listening to the call tonight, that you'll join us and find that, like Annelise spoke about, we're a true family. But as in any family, in order to support the family and in order to enhance the family's lifestyle, there needs to be money. And money is something that we care a lot about as well. We want people to make it. We want people to be able to have freedom and the choices that come from making significant income, or just a little extra income, depending on the workload and the opportunity that you're looking for. So what we did was, when we first started the company back in May, we hired a group of people to go out and research comp plans from all across the industry. We looked at comp plans for what we call the party system, and we looked at comp plans for what we called network marketing or binary. We looked at all different kinds of comp plans, and we found that one of the things that people really didn't like about almost every comp plan out there was that they lost income if something negative happened, and I'll explain that in a second. We call that breakage. So that's one thing. The other thing that we found was that people really wanted to have a principle called compression, and those two go hand in hand, breakage and compression. One is the answer for the other, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But overall, we just wanted to design a comp plan that really paid well and encouraged you to not only build a team, but to drive volume through that team, to be able to teach people to have parties, or we call them fashion events, and really make some significant impact in other people's lives. So what we did was we designed a comp plan that pays better than most. Right off the top, there's two ways to make money in this business. There's the retail commission. So in other words, the difference between buying it from the company at wholesale and selling it for retail gives you, on average, about 35% across the jewelry. Now, you can do that in any number of ways. You can hold parties or fashion events. You can do what we call stop and shops, where you go to someone's house to show them the concept, do craft shows and trade shows. You can sell one-on-one. You can drive sales to your website. So many different ways to sell the product. The cool thing, like Annelise mentioned, is that you have a concept that nobody else has in jewelry. And when women see this concept, they get really excited. It's so fun to watch. We are in the middle of launching Canada, and people up there, it's like the first time they've ever seen the concept. It's just incredible to watch people. And in the U.S., we have so much opportunity. We're very much unknown across the country, and just there's a lot of opportunity. And the cool thing is you don't basically call someone and say, hey, do you want to buy some jewelry? You just simply tell them, hey, let me show you this. This is not something you've ever seen before. Watch what my jewelry does. I can guarantee you no other company says that. So that's really important, the retail commission. So basically on $100 in sales, you're making roughly $35. Okay, so that's the first way to make money. The second way to make money, which, by the way, first of all, the retail commissions that we pay is higher than most of our competitors. And so that was really important as well. Now, the second way to make money in the comp plan is to build a team. Now, in other comp plans or in other companies, this thing called breakage happens. Let me explain. Let's say that Dave hires Mary, and Mary hires Karen. So let's say that Mary quits the business. Well, then Karen in some comp plans would just fall away, and you'd no longer get paid on Karen because Mary left. So that's one way that breakage happens. Another way is if Mary isn't eligible for commission, then again that breakage can happen and you wouldn't get paid on Karen, meaning she didn't do anything or sell anything that month. Another thing that happens in a lot of comp plans across the industry is, let's say Mary gets promoted to a level higher than you. Now, again, you wouldn't get paid on Karen anymore because she would break away. So our compensation plan, does none of those things. We have what we call dynamic compression. First of all, nobody can ever out-promote from under you. If you put them in your line, you're going to get paid on them. Secondly, is if somebody quits the business or is not compensation eligible in that same example, Karen, let's say Mary became ineligible or quit, Karen would actually move up to your line one, resulting in more commissions paid than you would have normally make. So not only does she not break away, or not only do you not lose commissions on her, you actually, because of the principle of compression in our comp plan, you actually get paid more on her than you did the prior month on the same volume or the same amount of sales. So that's really, really critical. If you're new to direct sales, a lot of this will be a little bit foreign to you, but trust me, it means in a fully developed team and in a big team, it can literally mean thousands of dollars extra in your pocket. So it's a very important principle. All right. So that's the compensation plan. We pay at the higher levels, infinity bonuses, all the way down, multiple levels. Again, that's pretty unique to us. So a lot of cool things there. And if you have additional questions about the comp plan, I'm happy to answer them. One other thing that really makes us different is our party host, or fashionista, we call them, benefits. All that is paid for by the company. Free jewelry and free coupons are given based on sales. And not only that, but we also award the designer, which is the consultant, with coupons and jewelry as well. So most hear about that very often. Usually companies just reward the hostess, but in our case, we reward both the hostess and the consultant. We also give you rewards for booking parties or fashion events from other parties or fashion events. So really critical too. That's a super huge benefit, and you get a lot of added benefit to that. For example, as a designer or consultant, if you went to a party and earned 50% off coupons, when you went and sold those pieces, you would earn 50% commission on them. So really cool, really huge. All right, so lots of ways to make money, lots of ways to get benefits. This can be a great part-time job, or it can be a full-time job for those that are really serious about it. The cool thing is the timing could not be better. We're absolutely in launch phase. We're just getting started, just a few months old, and there's a real opportunity for you to join us as we work on and will be successful in changing the jewelry industry, not just in concept, because we'll do that as well, but also, like Annelise spoke about, in culture and how we help women and men discover their infinite worth and become part of something bigger than themselves. So, Dave, I know we wanted to do some question and answer. Anything you wanted to add before we open it up?
No, let's go ahead and open it up. I know we've got some just recently enrolled designers on the call and wanted to invite them, if they had any questions, to certainly go ahead and hit *6 and ask any questions at all that you want. And we've got a few others that are just looking into the business, for the first time as well. So let's go ahead and just open it up to you all. And again, don't want to put anybody on the spot, but certainly want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask any questions that you want about the business or anything while we've got Sean and Annelise on the line. So again, just hit *6, and we'll wait just a minute or so, and that's okay if we've got a little bit of silence while some are getting the background quiet or whatnot. So *6, go ahead, and does anybody have any questions to ask? You always wonder who's going to be the first. It's very possible, Sean, you just did that good of a job explaining everything, and they've got all their questions already answered.
Oh, that would be the first one.
While they're thinking, I will just mention one thing, and that is that that this jewelry is so different that it's in a category all by itself. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that, but the category that we call it is versatile jewelry, and I hear these stories of women that have already purchased the jewelry and they're just wearing it, around town in the grocery store or whatnot, and they're getting people just commenting, "Oh, I love that necklace. That's so beautiful." And I love to hear these ladies say, "Oh, this is not a necklace," and they look at them like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And and then they go on and just quickly explain how it's so much more than a necklace, that this necklace can be worn in so many different ways, and worn as a bracelet and as a belt and as boot jewelry and as a lanyard, and as I've seen them wear it in their hair in cute little ways, and I just love that. Again, there's nothing out there that allows women to really take one or two pieces of jewelry and wear it, gosh, really, there's so many. I was going to say about 12 to 15 different ways, but I've seen women get so creative with their style that I can't even count the different ways that they wear just the same, one or two pieces, let alone, mix and match and many other different things. So, versatile jewelry. All right. Any other? I don't know if I've stalled long enough. Any other questions out there? If not, that's okay. We'll go ahead and wrap up the call. But last call for any questions. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for being on the call. Thanks, Sean and Annelise, for your time. We know everyone's time is valuable. At the end of the day, I will tell you, we've got, my wife, Trish, and I, we live out in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got 7 kids. We have, many different things in the community, from helping to coach soccer games and whatnot. And I understand that we only have so much time in the day, and that's really, as I wrap up the call, that's one of the things why I chose to seize this moment and seize the opportunity, because I've never seen it or had the opportunity to be introduced to something where I could really be involved at the ground floor at the very beginning. It's kind of cliche to say that, right? To be something at the ground floor, but it really is. And I recognize, and I'm understanding more and more every day of what this opportunity can mean for others, but also for myself and for my family, and that I can provide in a way for my family some incredible income while serving and helping other people. I can provide an incredible income that can allow me to have that flexibility, right, as we're our own boss in this, and as we're entrepreneurs, to have a flexible schedule, to be with my family as often as I need to, and be there for them. I absolutely love that. In the corporate world, it's hard sometimes to appreciate that until you're in a situation that demands your time. I remember when I worked in the corporate world, and my wife was I don't remember if it was our first or second child, but she got really, really sick and had to go to the emergency room, and was pretty traumatic of an experience. And I remember calling in to work. I was managing a restaurant at the time, and I said, "Hey, I need to take the night off. My wife is in the emergency room." And my boss could almost care less. She just simply said, "Look, you got a shift that starts in 45 minutes. You got to come here," and that was it. And you have little moments like that in your life that remind you and help you to appreciate how awesome it is to have an opportunity like this to be an entrepreneur, to be in business for yourself but not by yourself. I absolutely love the support and the environment and the culture that Sean and Annelise are creating here at Mialisia. As you start this business, you will find that there are so many. You really join a family, and it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's the truth. You join a family of sisters and who are there to support you and help you. There's an incredible opportunities for you. Really, to enroll, let me wrap up the call with simply this. What your next step would be is to get back with the person that invited you to this call, and they can give you their own personal website, and that's where you would go to enroll in the business. There's a couple different kits that you can choose from, and they can kind of explain that. But get back with the person that invited you to make sure that we get your questions answered and really help you to understand what kind of an opportunity this really is. And let me close with this quote. Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite mentors, if you will, said this: "You'll seldom experience regret for anything that you've done. It is what you haven't done that will torment you. The message, therefore, is clear. Do it. Develop an appreciation for the present moment. Seize every second of your life and savor it. Value your present moment." So that is my hope for each one of you who are on the call tonight, whether you've already enrolled with us or whether you're thinking about enrolling with us. Value the present moment. Understand the opportunity that's knocking at your door. I look forward to working with you as your Executive National Designer, as your teammate, as your partner, and as your friend. Again, thank you for your time. Ladies, thanks again, Sean and Annelise, and hope everyone has a wonderful evening.